Good morning, everyone. Today is Saturday, July 23rd, 2022. I'm Crystal Dawn Hill, and I'm here to share a message, or rather an update about some new things that I'm discovering today. I first want to apologize. I do have 2 other videos that are pending, and I just haven't felt guided to get back to do those. But I am feeling very strongly guided to do this one. And as most of you know who follow me, I'm very much in the moment, and I go by my inner guidance and try to adhere to that as much as possible. So with that being said, I want to share something about my journey with my divine masculine that I have felt building over the past few weeks, and it finally came to a culmination just over the past couple days, and I'm really excited about it. So a couple of weeks ago, I don't remember if it was during the meditation or when I woke up and it was first thing in the morning, but I remember having this feeling that our connection had trickled into another layer of physicality. So I could feel his energy with me very palpably. I was feeling a tremendous amount of sexual energy, in that it was more like physical yearning rather than the normal spiritual or metaphysical yearning that I usually feel regarding him. And I started noticing that what I was picking up about him was much more intricate and much more specific. And it was like more, I was feeling a sense of assuredness that what I was picking up from him was valid. So this feeling of it trickling into another layer of physicality, that just opened the door for a lot more awareness that it has brought me into up until today. So a couple of days ago, I think I was watching a video and heard someone say something that resonated with me about the collective, which is that the divine masculine collective is going through a huge amount of inner work and coming into a lot of realization and pretty much on the verge of completely surrendering to the connection with their divine feminine. And this resonated so much with me because I had already been feeling like our journey was leading up to this moment. And as some of you may know, we've had no contact for several months now. And this is the most quiet that we've been with each other since the beginning of our connection almost 4 years ago now. And what I've noticed that's different this time versus the other times that we've been in a period of no contact is that before I was always guided to reach back out and to give him that little nugget of reminder that my love is real and not imaginary for him. Like I'm for real, like I'm genuine and solid and down to earth and not just this whimsical 5D imaginary mate that he's somehow conjured up in his mind. That I'm in fact a real person and have real feelings and a real life in the physical existence. So I feel like a lot of realizations are coming to him in regard to that. And as strange as it sounds, it may be that he still hasn't really put it all together, that it's me specifically, but I think that he's experiencing the connection in the same way that I am, in that he's also feeling it coming into physicality layer by layer. So this brings me up to just a couple days ago. I was watching a video about archangels, and I heard one archangel mentioned that I had never heard mentioned before, and that is Archangel Sandalphon. And when I heard that name, it really resonated very deeply with me. So I did some research on either him or her. I've heard it said that Sandalphon is like a feminine energy. So I don't know if it was actually like a male or a female, but supposedly Sandalphon was in human form as the Bible prophet Elijah. So I'm just going to refer to him as him based on that information. So I did some research on him, and last night I was watching a video, and the person doing the video was listing different characteristics about him, like his element and his what chakra he operates from and everything like that. And there was a huge amount of resonance and synchronicity between him and me. And this was enough to kind of keep me going in that direction of learning more about him. And I watched another video after that, and I had already heard this in previous videos, but for some reason this one really stuck out for me. It really stood out for me, I mean. And that was about him and Metatron being brothers, and they either descended in flames or they were born of flames or something like that. I can't remember. And so this got me thinking about the whole twin flame thing. And I know that no one refers to them as twin flames, and I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that there seems to be like an energy of the twin flame dynamic around them. Like, with twin siblings, they have many of the same characteristics that twin flames share, like the telepathy and the deep bond and all of that. And the, the similarities in their character and their personality and their dynamic and everything. So, that's really all I want to say as far as Sandalphon's characteristics and that type of thing. But what I want to go into now is some incredible validation that I received, that he's actually one of my angels who's very involved and very interested in my journey. Now, this takes me back a little bit because there was one point that I wanted to mention earlier and I forgot. And well, actually, I did kind of mention it when I was talking about my connection with my divine masculine kind of trickling into the physical world. I felt like I was being very pulled back into 3D, and that I wasn't abandoning my 5D connection, but rather I was kind of ushering it in to the 3D world and kind of merging or marrying the two aspects of my consciousness. And when I started doing research on Sandalphon, I discovered something very amazing, which is that he oversees us in our physical world. And I'm getting cold chills all over me. And that is verification for me that I'm not only correct in what I'm saying, but I'm also being congratulated for sharing it, because I can almost feel his excitement from knowing that I'm putting this information out there. So I think the cold chills are kind of twofold, because normally when I'm getting validation from spirit that I'm on the right track, I get them down my left side, but right now I'm getting them down both sides. So that's why I'm feeling like it's balanced, and it's also twofold, the validation. So in addition to that original confirmation that I got, or the synchronicity or whatever that I got from learning that he oversees us in our physical reality, I've also gotten a lot of other validation that he's been watching over me for quite some time. And I'm going to share a couple of these. And they're very personal. And I normally don't go into my personal life when I'm sharing about my twin flame journey. But isn't that interesting? Because that's almost symbolic of the fact that my two worlds are starting to be merged together. So my great-grandfather's name was Enoch the second, and he went by Eli. And then my great-great-grandfather, which was his father, of course, Enoch. So according to the videos that I've been watching, Metatron was Enoch in the physical world, in the biblical story. And Sandalphon was Elijah. So even though my great-grandfather Eli's name was not Elijah, when I was watching this video and I saw the name Elijah, or heard it or whatever, in my mind I saw Eli jump out. And this is before I knew anything about Sandalphon. This was when I first started learning about him. So I thought that was really interesting that they were, their names were the same or similar to my great-great-grandfather and his son, who was my great-grandfather. Another thing that I find really interesting is that, and then this is another very personal thing, I normally don't share anything about my personal experience with the spirit world, because I've been judged and criticized for it so much in the past. But I feel like this is so important and so significant, both for my own progression and for sharing the information with others, that I almost feel like it would be sacrilegious to not share this. So a few weeks back, I remember feeling my paternal grandfather's presence with me. I only met him one time in my life. It was a very brief meeting, and he felt very chilly to me. And so I was really baffled as to why I was feeling his presence. And when I meditated on the reasoning, it was that he was here because he represents the masculine side of my journey, and he's going to be assisting me with bringing in my or integrating my divine masculine energy. And at first, when I was given this information, when I meditated, at first I was like, okay, that's good. That was kind of expected, because when I first met my divine masculine and he read my energy, he told me that I needed to ground my masculine energy. So I knew that that time would come. I just didn't know when, and I didn't know exactly how it would look. But it just all made sense. So I didn't get overly emotional about it because I didn't have an emotional attachment to my grandfather. I just was grateful that he was here and willing to assist me in that endeavor. But as I'm sharing with you about his father, Eli, and his grandfather, Enoch, it makes perfect sense why he would be here to sort of introduce me to this side of my journey. And, you know, as I said, when I first had the visitation from him and meditated on his reasons for being here, I was kind of blasé about it. I'm like, okay, well, that's wonderful. Thank you for that. But then as I was pulled deeper into the meditation regarding his purpose in my journey, something astounding hit me. Oh my gosh. He's actually representing my divine masculine side, which intuitively, that means to me that it's time to start integrating not only the divine masculine aspect of myself and my own life in 3D, but because the connection with the man who represents my divine masculine has been so powerfully intertwined, then he's going to be enmeshed in that divine masculine energy. So it's almost like if you're knitting and you knit together or embroider, if you take like embroidery thread and you braid together 3 different colors, and so you have a multicolored strand of thread, but then you take those braids and you begin to intertwine them. That is what I'm seeing as far as my journey. It's like, it's not just this thread or that thread that's being woven together, but all of the multifaceted threads that are already woven together that are now being enmeshed with all of the different aspects of my journey. So it's like it's all coming into oneness. So my video today, my purpose for doing it was to talk about Sandalphon and his significance in my journey. And then, of course, that took me into talking about him and Metatron and their connection and their existence in the 3D world as biblical figures. And then, of course, how everything unfolded in my message after that. So, what I would like to say in closing about all this is that not only is everything beginning to entwine into my new experience of existence, but it's also how my perspective is changing. So when I look from my own perspective out into the world, I don't see it as fragmented anymore like we do when we're in 3D consciousness. Like we see our job as one thing and our personal life is something else and our family is something else. And, everything is individualized, but I don't look at it that way anymore. I see everything as intertwined with each other and all part of one big, beautiful tapestry. So I think that's a really good note to close on. I could probably sit here and meditate for a few minutes and think of other things that I'd like to add to this, but I think I'm going to keep it here for now and keep it light and brief. And if you have any comments or feedback or questions about what I've shared today, I always, welcome you to reach out to me either here in the comments or on my Facebook page, Crystal Dawn Hill. So thank you everyone for listening and for following along my journey. I wish you all the very best along your journey as well, and have a wonderful day.